What is up, everybody? I'm your Legendary Commander, and welcome back to Baldur's Gate 3. In this video, I'm going to show you how to upcast spells. You might be wondering, why am I showing you how to upcast spells? Well, I had the question of what is upcasting from a person, and I was like, how do you not know that? But then I got to thinking about it. Well, maybe they're new, and if he doesn't know, there's one time I didn't know. Well, what does it do? How does it work? What spells should you be upcasting? What ones should you not upcast? There's a lot of questions to answer here. So let's get into it. So how do you upcast a spell? It's pretty simple. You click on the spell and then you notice there are multiple options to pick from, where it shows different Roman numerals all the way up to hopefully level 6. In theory, in D&D you can go higher, but Baldur's Gate only hits level 6 spells. So why might you actually upcast a spell? Generally that answer is, I want to do more damage. And so, for example, Guiding Bolt, if you cast it one level higher, instead of doing 46, it'll do 5d6. And if you cast it all the way up to level 6, it'll do 9d6. Generally, that's the purpose of upcasting a spell, is to increase damage. This should be the same with Fireball. Casting Fireball at 9th level is going to do a lot more damage than Fireball at 3rd level. However, it doesn't always have to be damage. Another reason why you might upcast a spell is, one, you just don't have the spell slot. Now sure, upcasting a spell has the byproduct of upping damage, but maybe you don't have a level 1 spell slot to cast Shield of Faith, for example, and Shield of Faith gains no benefits from an upcast, but you want to cast Shield of Faith. That might be a reason to cast Shield of Faith at 2nd level. There would almost be no reason to cast it at 6th level because it does nothing extra for you. It's just burning a spell slot to achieve an objective. Another reason why you might upcast a spell, going back to damage, is getting the extra projectile or extra ray, for example. Magic Missile gains an extra projectile per upcasted level, and Scorching Ray receives an extra ray every time you go up a level. Now again, normally this is done more about damage, but sometimes you just need that extra Magic Missile or ray to hit a target, more likely Magic Missile in this case, to hit that target, knock it out before he can do damage and possibly ruin everything, or to stop him from sounding an alarm. You notice a lot of the upcasting revolves back around to doing damage though. However, it's not always about damage. There are spells such as Fog Cloud that have expanded range by upcasting at higher levels. This means if you cast it at level 1, you get a small area, whereas if you cast it at level 5 or level 6, the area becomes very large, which allows you to have more freedom of movement to hide. But then there are other spells too, like Charm Person or Command, which allows you to command more people by upcasting, where at level 1 you can command 1 person, at level 6 you can do 6 people. Or you can cast Hold Person on multiple people, and there are many other spells like it. Now there is another reason to upcast a spell, which I don't really see much of that mechanic, if at all, in this game, is to increase the duration of a spell. Now I'd be hard pressed to find a spell that has increased duration by you upcasting, but I know there are spells that do that in D&D. But we're not really going to cover which spells they are because they're not part of Baldur's Gate. Now, one other spell that I need to cover, which is a little different than the rest, is Counterspell. Counterspell is a weird spell as it is not only just reactionary, but I'm not sure if it's working exactly how it's intended in Baldur's Gate. However, I believe it is. Counterspell is a spell if you were to say cast Fireball at 3rd level. I could cast Counterspell as a reaction and prevent Fireball from going off. However, if they were to upcast their Fireball spell or cast another spell of higher level and I casted a 3rd level Counterspell, there suddenly becomes a save, which should in theory be equal to 10 plus the spell level. Thus, if they cast a 6th level spell and you cast a 3rd level Counterspell, they have a DC 13 to beat. If they pass that spell DC, their 6th level spell is still going off. However, if it doesn't pass, well then the spell just fails. That said, by increasing your Counterspell, any spell lower than it will always fail. Any spell equal to it will still fail. And the spells that are higher level than it will once again have that DC 10 plus the spell level. That's how that is supposed to work. However, I'm not 100% sure if that's how it's working in Baldur's Gate. I have watched a level 6 Counterspell fail against a level 6 Fireball. So there's also healing magic, but healing magic is very similar to damage magic. It's just kind of the reverse, where if you cast a healing spell, upcast it, it does more healing. There's also some conjuration magic, like conjuring an elemental. If you conjure an elemental with a level 5 spell, you get a level 5 elemental, whereas if you conjure it with a level 6 spell, you get a level 6 creature. However, that one doesn't so much upcast in the same manner as when you click on the spell, it just expands the spell, showing additional options, but the principle is essentially the same. Now, I'm sure there might be something I have missed in here. I can't cover everything as my current characters in playthrough does not have all the spells, but this is a general idea. You should always read your descriptions to know what you're doing when you upcast a spell. Again, you might just need to upcast a spell just so you can cast a spell. I mean, if you're wanting to teleport somewhere but you don't have a level 4 dimension door, but you really need to teleport, a level 5 dimension door isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. Or shield and just casting it so you don't lose your fighter because they're an Eldritch Knight, and casting shield will prevent them from falling, which means next turn they can kill the enemy. Another reason why you might cast a spell at a higher level. But once again, the majority of the time when you upcast a spell, it is mainly out of damage or trying to get more targets. Those are the main reasons to upcast a spell. With all that said, I'm starting to circle the drain here, and I'm going to call it with that. I hope you all enjoyed this one. I hope it taught you something. That's always the point of this channel, is to teach and help. But that's going to be it for this video. You all take care, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye!